Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 11. So now we are going to present about the palm oil manufacturing processing, which we chose margarine for our food application. So my team members are Afdal Zairil bin Zulkifli, Ahmad Ziad bin Rasidi, Nur Shahirah binti Mat Abdul Rahman, and me, Karina binti Firshah. So basically, this presentation concludes of introduction of margarine, process flow diagram, and conclusion. So, I will start off with the introduction of margarine. Margarine is akin to butter in taste and appearance, but it has its own variations. As a substitute for butter, margarine was made instead. Vegetable margarine was recommended as a substitute because it is higher in unsaturated fat and contain little or no cholesterol at all. Since then, margarine's primary component is vegetable oil. It lacks of cholesterol and unsaturated fat found in butter, which it has higher percentage of polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fat. Next, I will explain on the process flow diagram of making margarine, where margarine is made with physical refining. Therefore, refining process are included in this presentation. For example, the first step is neutralization. So basically, this is how the neutralization process flow diagram looks like. Therefore, I will explain how the process work from the beginning to the end of the neutralization process. Okay, so basically, we use micellar oil, which is extracted from the soybean oil. So first and foremost, the crude oil will be fed into the crude oil holding tank, where this tank is used to storage of unrefined and untreated oil. And next, this untreated oil will be pumped by mixing with the hot water, which is then will enter into the crude oil preheater. This preheater is supplied by a steam to increase its temperature, whereby this increase in temperature will separate the excess water by this condensate stream, and the untreated oil will flow into the dynamic mixture, where this dynamic mixture is the pure untreated and unrefined oil, which this oil will flow towards the degumming vessel. Degumming vessel is used to remove all the unnecessary substances such as phospholipids, gums, and other resins. At this degumming vessel, the temperature used to separate is around 70 degrees Celsius to 90 degrees Celsius, where at this point, before it enters the neutralizing this mixture, at this point, the oil is free from gums, which is known as non-hydratable oil gums. Okay, but still, in some of the oil, it consists of free fatty acid. Therefore, to remove the free fatty acid, caustic soda is used to remove the free fatty acid by adding the sodium hydroxide, known as caustic soda, by adding the caustic lye in the caustic soda tank. Therefore, the mixture of caustic solution will be pumped back into the neutralizing this mixture to mix with the non-hydratable gums, which is free gums oil, will be mixed with the free fatty acid oil. Okay, at this mixture, and then this free fatty acid oil phase with the free unhydratable gums oil will be passed through the reaction vessel, where this reaction vessel will occur many chemical reaction inside it. For example, hydrogenation process. Okay, therefore, this crude oil, free fatty acid crude oil, will be mixed with hot water, and it will enter the neutralizing separator. Neutralizing separator is an equipment to separate the residual soap stock due to caustic soda tank, which the excessive soap stock will be collected in the soap stock buffer tank, and it will be discharged and used for other application, for example petroleum. Okay, and then at this stage, the oil is refined from free fatty acid, hydratable gum, and soap substance, which is then it will mix together so that the mixture will be mixed evenly, and then the crude oil will be passed through the washing separator, so that the washing separator will remove the slope oil tank, where the slope oil is usually a waste that need to be refined. Therefore, washing separator is needed in order to remove the excessive chemicals, which is it will produce as a slope oil tank, and therefore the crude oil, the refined and treated crude oil, will be passed through the upper stream of the washing separator and to the vacuum dryer, where this vacuum dryer is functioned to absorb all the excessive moisture of the crude oil. For example, the crude oil is already mixed with the hot water. Therefore, the vacuum dryer is needed to purify the crude oil so that the crude oil will be produced purely without any moisture. Therefore, the neutralized oil will be produced by the dryer discharge pump, while the excessive moisture will be heated and will pass at the vacuum system and will enter the hot well. Therefore, the neutralized oil will produce, and the next step is needed, which is bleaching process. So, yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name Ahmad Azad bin Sidi. Okay, I will explain about the bleaching process. First, it started in the bleach oil vessel. In the bleach oil enter the vessel and go through the feed pump, and then it will enter the polishing filter. Polishing filter will remove all the sediment and particle that contain in the bleach oil. Next, it will enter the heater to heat the oil. The steam from the above will supply heat for the heater to make the temperature increase, and then the oil will go to the economizer. The economizer will maintain the temperature from losing while flowing through the pipe. The oil will go to the deaerator, and the function of the deaerator is to remove dissolved gases from boiler feed water, so it will prevent any corrosion for the system. Next, the oil will go to the deodorizer process. Then from the pack column, the oil will enter the economizer again and reach the economizer in bleaching plant. Then it goes to the final cooler, which and it will reduce the temperature of the oil, and this is the cooling water that it will supply cold water for the cooler. And then it goes to the final polishing filter, and then again it will make sure there are no sediment or particle that contain in oil, and finally we will obtain the RDB oil. So that's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Nushaira binti Ma Abdul Rahman, and now I will explain to you about the deodorization process. Okay, as we know, deodorization process is a process where odor of a substance, unpleasant odor of a substance, will be removed instantaneously. So, in this presentation, the odor from bleach oil, the unpleasant odor from bleach oil will be removed, which is bleach oil will enter deodorizer, and fatty acid that cause the odor will be removed instantaneously. So the high steam oil will enter the pack column, and the fatty acid that had been removed, which is in liquid form, will be enter fatty acid distillate scrubber. In this fatty acid distillate scrubber, the liquid of fatty acid will enter the bottom stream and pumped to the fatty acid distillate and cooler. In the cooler, the fatty acid liquid will mix with a cooling water, and then will enter the fatty acid distillate scrubber again. In this scrubber, the liquid and gas fatty acid will be separate. So the liquid fatty acid will go to the bottom stream again, and gas fatty acid will enter the upper stream and go to the hot well. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Solvent fractionation process. In the process of oil, a fractionation process consists of a controlled cooling of the oil, thereby inducing a partial or fractional crystallization. The remaining liquid oil is then separated from the solid fraction steering by means of filtration or centrifugation. This technique is called fractional crystallization and used to obtain oil or fats more suitable, for example, as cooking oil or for margarine and shortening production. through continuous crystallization of the oil in a solvent followed by separation of the liquid and solid fraction through a continuous drum filter.
Okay, for the conclusion, as we know, margarine is the best product to substitute butter, because margarine is one of the healthy ingredients of our cooking, especially for diet, because margarine contains higher unsaturated fat, which is low in cholesterol, and the low cholesterol will reduce the risk of the heart disease, and it is very perfect for diet. And last but not least, for making margarine, there are 3 stages, which is stage 1 consists only refining, stage 2 consists bleaching, deodorization, and fractionation process, and last it is stage 3, which is it consists continuous reward unit. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.
Palm oil manufacturing, processing, and in the production of non-food. Soap application. Table of content containing first, introduction of soap, second, process flow diagram, and the last one, conclusion. Introduction. Soap is a washing agent formed by a fatty acid chemical reaction. It is a salt consisting of alkali metals such as sodium or potassium and a combination of carboxylic acid called fatty acid. The soap cleaning action comes from its unusual ability to surround particles of oil, allowing them to be dispersed and quickly rinse away in water. For decades, soap has been used and continues to be commonly used as a cleansing agent, a mild antiseptic, and an ingestible antidote to some type of poisoning.
Okay, now, so basically, this is, I'm going to explain about the process flow diagram of making soup. Basically, this is how the PFD of soup process looks like. Okay, so now I'll be explaining on the saponification process to cooling process, which this is my explanation view. So basically, the raw materials are usually oils, palm oil, and fatty acid, or fatty acid, or any fats. So basically, this reactor is a saponification reactor, where saponification is an exothermal chemical reaction that gives off heat. The reaction occurs when there is a in contact between the oil and the fats. Therefore, in saponification reactor, where the reaction occur, where the triglyceride of fat units acid react with the sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, that is known as caustic, which are converted into soap and glycerol. Salt is added to certain forms of soap to precipitate the solid soap. The saponification process usually takes place around 24 to 48 hours to complete once the lyes and oils have been combined together. The process can be accelerated by adding more heat to the reactor or slowed down by any cooling process. So this combination of mixture of the production of oil and the fats, which is the glycerol, will go to the cooler, where adding lye, sodium hydroxide, to water cause an exothermic reaction that causes the lye water to reach temperature up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Therefore, soap is produced, is the salt carboxylic acid. So therefore, the cooler takes place in order to speed up the reaction. So next, I will pass this presentation to the next members. Thank you.
Process flow diagram for static separation and washing process. For the static separation, the wet soap is pumped to a static separator, where a settling vessel which does not use any mechanical action. The soap or IV is pumped into the tank, where it separates out on the basis of weight. The spent are settle to the bottom from where it is piped off to the glycerin recovery unit, while the soap rise to the top and is piped away from further processing. For the washing process, at this point, soap still remains much of its glycerin and is removed with fresh ice in the washing column. The column has string attached to its inside surface. The soap solution is applied near the bottom of the column and the lid near the top. As the eye flows to the middle of the column, a series of spinning discs hold the mixture of soap and eye additive between the rings. This creates enough turbulence to ensure a good mix between the two solutions. The rate of productivity of glycerin is determined, and the rate at which fresh eye are added to the washing column is set to 25% to 55%. Glycerin for the spent eye. Glycerin is almost infinitely soluble in brine, but at more than 35% of glycerin. However, I no longer extract glycerin effectively from soap. The soap is allowed to overflow from the top of the column. The eye is pumped away from the bottom at a controlled rate and added to the reactor.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Shaira binti Mak Abdul Rahman. Now I will explain to you about light separation and neutralization process. Okay. After the static separation and washing process, the soap and lye will enter the centrifuge. In the centrifuge, the soap the soap and lye will separate, and the soap will contain 0.5% of natrium chloride, 0.3% of natrium hydroxide, and 31% of water. And for lye, the lye that removed, it will be used as fresh lye again. So the lye will enter the washing column, the top of washing column, and soap will be removed as column overflow. Okay, when lye is added near the overflow stream, the soap contains around 20% of fresh lye, which is unacceptably high water and caustic level. By separating a lye, the electrolyte levels will be low for the acceptable limits. Okay, and after that, neutralization process will occur, which is the neutralization because of the caustic levels is low, it is unacceptably for the toilet soap and laundry soap. So a weak acid will be added to the natrium hydroxide so that it will suitable for a toilet and laundry soap. Natrium hydroxide will be added a weak acid such as coconut oils, which is highly contains free fatty acid. And some preservatives will be added too for the process. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, next I will continue with the drying process. Water level must be decreased to around 12%. This is achieved by heating the soap to around 135 degrees under pressure to prevent the water from boiling while the soap is still in the pipes, and then spraying it into the evacuated chamber. Next is the residual heat of evaporation lost when the water boils down will decreases the temperature of the soap. At 45 degrees Celsius, it solidifies to the walls of the chamber. The soap chips are scraped off the wall and flooded. For example, it will be pressed together by screw. Next is creation of noodle soap. Is identified as plodder worm. So soap is now known as base or knit soap. Soap chip can be converted to a number of different soap in the finishing stages. The moisture evaporated of the wet soap is transported to a barometric condenser, which recondenses the vapor without the system losing vacuum. The moisture can contain soap dust, which is removed by cyclones and returned by augers to the spray chamber, while the water is recycled. For the conclusion, soap is an important product for our daily life because to prevent the spread of germs that make us sick, washing with soap is necessary. Soap is our first line of defense against those destructive germs. Soaps are saturated and unsaturated salts of fatty acids. The stages of making soap is quite simple and efficient because it using continuous process. In order to produce high quality soap, this process is very important, which refer to its cleaning, efficiency, ability, and hardness. That's all from us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.